soapers and wannabe soapers. This video is for people brand new to soaping. Absolutely brand new to soaping. Lye soaping in particular. I wanted to do a video that included weighing the oils out. I'm going to do a fairly simple recipe with coconut oil. But I'm going to do a more advanced method, so those of you who are more experienced soapers may be interested in the second half of this video. But I really wanted to show people how to weigh their oils. Now I have here a Weight Watcher scale. It has grams. It's on grams right now. And it also has ounces. I can change it to ounces. Now there's about roughly, very roughly, 30 grams to an ounce. Okay, it's actually a little bit less, but I'm going to round it off to 30 grams to an ounce. So if you measure in grams, it's much more accurate. But I know that here in the United States, I'm in the United States, people are usually much more familiar with ounces. But in soaping, grams are much more accurate. Okay, so we're going to measure in grams, and according to our soap, this is from Soap Calc. Okay, so I have here a 100% coconut with a super fat of 25%. And so we need to measure out 453 grams of coconut oil. Yeah, 453 grams, 0.59. So I'm going to round it up to 454 grams. 454 grams, which is, 16 ounces. But if I measure it in grams, I'm going to have a much more accurate reading. And if I was using, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different oils, it's much more accurate. And you have to weigh the oils. You can't do a volume measurement. This week I saw multiple soapers trying to measure their oils by volume, and it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Your recipe is not going to come out. So 454 grams. I have my coconut oil here. And I'm going to use a ice cream scoop to measure it out. And I'm going to put my container on there. Now my container is about 78 grams. And I'm going to zero that out. Okay. And then we're going to scoop our coconut oil directly into this container, and afterwards we're going to melt the oils. I like melting my oils over a double boiler, but sometimes for convenience I'll even melt them in the microwave. You just have to be really careful about that. So that's 148 grams so far. $208. $251. So we're getting close. So what is it? A nickel is, I believe, 5 grams. So we just need a little tiny bit. Okay, so there's 260. And so I need to take a little bit out. $257. Take a little more out, because we already have a very high super fat. And I'm at 253. I wanted 254. 255 is pretty darn close. 254 right there. Okay, so we're gonna take a little video break and we'll be right back. We're gonna melt these oils down and then measure our lye. Okay, thank you. So I have my protective gear on. I have my goggles, my gloves. I have a lab coat on, and my lye water has cooled down. And I'm gonna pour the lye water into my clear and melted oil. Today my oil is coconut oil because we're gonna make a salt soap, and you need coconut oil. It's one of the few things, oils that lathers with lots and lots of salt. We're going to do 50% salt by weight. So, okay, we're going to do the lye now. I have some charcoal I'm going to use for additives, and I have some kelp powder. Okay, so I have 3 containers and my oils are looking like they're separating. So I put my stick blender attachment back on and I'm giving them, I'm gonna mix them again. And my white batter keeps separating. Now this is a problem. So I'm gonna clean off my stick blender and go back to this. And see if we can get it to fully emulsify. And I wanna put, I'd like it to go to a light trace and then put the salt in because I'm doing a salt bar. Put a teaspoon of the kelp powder and it feels like I put like half a cup in. It has a distinctive seaweed smell. Might throw some people off. It's really not even tracing. It's not making a mark in the batter, but at least I have a film on the stick blender here. My arm is getting a bit sort. Oh, that one's thickening up, so that's good. So we'll do the last one, and then we should be ready to pour. I'm liking these square molds from Brambleberry. And I think we'll do black on the bottom. Okay, so this is our activated charcoal. Activated charcoal is amazing. I tend to use it often in my soaps. So we're just gonna scrape out this last bit of soap batter, and then we're gonna let these set overnight and see how they unmold and see how they are the next day. See you tomorrow. So we're about to unmold our salt bars. The salt gives them added texture, and so and makes them hard usually. So I have here a stainless steel baking pan that I've set them on, and when I was mixing my water and lye, that was a stainless steel bowl. It's very important that the only metal you use is stainless. Aluminum can have a reaction with lye that can be very dangerous. It reacts with the lye and produces hydrogen gas, I believe. And so I'm releasing the suction. And what's nice on the silicone molds is you can see it releasing the suction. And we'll get these out. So these are salt bars. We added 50% of fine sea salt, 50% of the oil weight of fine sea salt to the batter. And you want to do that towards the end because it's going to thicken up your batter. A few stubborn ones. A little bit soft there, indented the sides. Which is really unusual for salt bars. Usually they're like ridiculously hard. When I did the kelp powder, when I prepared the kelp powder, I added extra liquid in the form of aloe to really incorporate the kelp powder because it really got clumpy on me. And so I wonder if there was a little too much water liquid in my batter here. So you can see salt bars look a little different. The kelp bars look really interesting. And you want to use an individual mold. You definitely want to use an individual mold in case it gets really hard like it's supposed to, and then it's almost impossible to cut. So I used individual molds. And they need to be cleaned up. I didn't think I was going to like the kelp ones, but oops. I think I like the kelp ones the best. I used a teaspoon of the charcoal, and that should have been the right amount, but my charcoal's seeming a little soft. Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to review a few things about weighing your ingredients and mixing your ingredients. I find these indispensable. I use these a lot. I also use my thermometer a lot. I think it's really important to try to match your lye water with your oils. Other people have different opinions on this, especially if you're trying to do things at a little bit higher temperature, because for whatever reason, I also do hot process, so I'm used to mixing things at a little bit higher temperature. So I find these thermometers invaluable. I wanted to go back to the scale and make sure that when you're using your scale, make sure when you turn it on, you zero it out. And then when you're weighing things, you want to put your container on it and also zero that out before you weigh it. And you also want to use grams. Okay, so you want to weigh your oils, you want to weigh your lye, you want to weigh your distilled water. If you're doing multiple oils, let's say you're doing 2 or 3 different oils and they can all fit in the same container, then after each addition, you can press the zero out button. Okay, if it doesn't have a zero out button, then you're going to have to do each oil separately. And then sometimes, because I'm weighing everything in grams and I'm a little less familiar with grams, sometimes I have an ounce button, and I'll transition to ounce just to kind of double check. It's like, oh, okay, you know, it's 4 ounces is 113.4 grams. And so let's say I measure 113 grams of water, and I kind of know what 4 ounces of water looks like, so I might press the button and just kind of eyeball it, make sure I'm in the ballpark. Because I think a lot of problems people are having, especially, you know, really new people, is measuring accurately, not forgetting an oil, making sure things are dissolved. You want to make sure your lye is dissolved before you use it, dissolved really well till it's clear. Unless you're using salt, then it's going to be milky white, but you want to make sure it's very dissolved. Make sure you emulsify well. I think I had maybe false trace. I mean, I emulsified super well, and my batter was still separating. And because I've done hot process before where your batter does tend to separate, I knew that I had to keep mixing. So I mixed for an unusually long time, and I think it might be from the extra liquid that I had to use to incorporate my additives. But I'm not sure. So, but I definitely mixed it until I got a clear, it was emulsified and it didn't separate out again. And it took a lot longer than I expected.